Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Menganyi. I am the co-founder and chapter lead Women in Global Health Kenya. I'm very pleased to have you and have this session. As we celebrate World Breastfeeding Week this year, 2025, it's an amazing opportunity to hear from women who are working and the challenges they've been getting as breastfeeding mothers. This year's theme, Prioritize Breastfeeding, Create Sustainable Support System, is very passionate for us as women in global health because we want to listen, we want to ask, do we have support systems for women at their workplaces? As we advocate for gender equity in health, it's an opportunity for us to ensure that everybody has a responsibility to ensure mothers get the best time as they are working and breastfeeding. And also the women themselves, they can get time to bond with their children, and they can get time to also ensure that they have a great system at the workplace, and they can also be able to provide quality of care to their newborns. It is not my story. We have a very exciting moment to hear from a mother, a person who works, a member of Women in Global Health, to share her lived experience on how she has overcome breastfeeding at the workplace, and then being a mother, being a breastfeeding mother, and working at the same time. Welcome on board, Ruth. She'll tell us more about herself, and she'll dive deep into whatever we're discussing in this breastfeeding week.
Hello, my name is Dr. Ruth Mbugua, a public health specialist, specialized majorly in cancer health literacy. Apart from that, I'm in academia. I've been in academia for the last 15 years. I'm also a researcher with interest in cancer literacy. Apart from that, I'm also well published. I've published various articles, a lot of articles in peer-reviewed journals, as well as supervised multiple postgraduate students both at master's level and PhD level. Apart from that, I'm a senior lecturer and also the Dean School of Health Sciences at Mama Ngina University College, which involves supervision of staff under the school, as well as coordinating activities within the school and also mentorship of students. The theme this year of prioritize breastfeeding and create support systems for this, for me, I would say that really looking at the women at the workplace, and of course a woman struggles a lot with work-life balance. So this theme really speaks to working women because we know that having that work-life balance, looking at aspects of work that require time from you. Here you are, you have a baby that requires to be breastfed. Again, looking at the systems that we have in place that do not recognize these special times that the woman has, I would say that this theme for the year really is quite, it really reflects to what we go through as women, because really breastfeeding is an issue that is not considered a real issue. And we find that in the discussions we have, this is an issue that does not really come up. And looking at the weight of this aspect, breastfeeding is very important. You need to be a mother, you are working, your child needs to get breastfed and get the right nutrients. As well, of course, we know the benefits of breastfeeding. And for most mothers, of course, we know the experience is that once you go back to work, breastfeeding is never the same as it was before you went back to work. So I would think the systems, again, to support this, we know, of course, the current scenario, the fact that breastfeeding has not been a priority in our workplaces. And of course, due to this, then little attention has been given to it. And of course, it means that really these systems are not in place to support the women. Being a mother, being in academia, and you know, in academia, of course, we know that promotions come based on research that you are doing. So you have to really engage in research, source out for money, conduct a lot of fundraising, write, of course, proposals that have to go through panels, which really requires a lot of time. After the research is conducted, you require to publish. Additionally, I had administrative responsibilities, meaning that apart from the lecturing, apart from the research, I'm also the dean of a school. So I would say that for me, my experience was that I really struggled a lot. And as I speak this, I know I represent many women who've gone through the same. So you can imagine coming back from home, getting back to work and finding your desk is full, and nobody in the system remembers that you have a young one who needs you to breastfeed them. And of course, as you come in, you find that the workload is heavy because you've been away for some time. Remember, your pace of working is also slower because you've been away from work for some time. So I would say for me, at that particular time, I struggled a lot because really at work I was expected to deliver as usual. And being a high performer, of course, you also start asking yourself whether you are delivering up to the level that you're supposed to. And I would say that this is likely to contribute to burnout amongst women because they may really feel under pressure because what is expected of them is actually too much. And looking at breastfeeding is there, you're supposed to express milk, where is the time? You've not even had time to eat, there's meetings back to back, nobody remembers you've just come back. So life is just normal, but for you, you are not yourself because you are really trying to get into this space. You are at work, you're also asking yourself as a mother, the child is at home, you remember you have to express the milk. So I would say it was quite difficult. But apart from that, I will not say that I didn't receive any support. I got a bit of flexible working hours. I was able to report in a bit late and leave a bit earlier, and the system supported me for that. But I would imagine if I didn't get such an opportunity, it would be so difficult because there are times when you really have to go and express the milk. I remember in some of our facilities, like where I was working at that time, we didn't have a lactation station. So if I was requested to work from 8 to 5, it would have been so difficult. And of course, medically, we know that if this woman continues staying with that milk for too long, breast can get engorged, mastitis can come into place, and of course also other aspects like, of course, with time, as you continue staying for long at work, the supply of milk also will reduce, and of course this means that it will affect the baby who is at home, who expects to get their breast milk regardless of whether you are working or not. I would say institutions still have a lot of work to do, and specifically providing the facilities. Like I would say many institutions have not prioritized having lactation stations, and these lactation stations are actually magical for most of the women because you'll find that if you have a lactation station to your access, you can easily go express the milk, take a break from your office, have proper storage for the milk, and then of course as you exit from work, then you carry your milk and take it home, and it's safe for the baby to use. So I would say that lack of those, of course, brings a very dynamic aspect for the woman because it means then you have to leave office, or sometimes you stay with the milk and you're uncomfortable. And also, of course, other aspects would be the policies which are at the workplace. Like for example, allowing women who are just coming in to work remotely from home. If really they don't have to be in the office, within the first few months after they return from maternity leave, it will be very helpful if they were given time to work remotely, that is from home. And of course, this means that they are able to deliver whatever they can, as well as breastfeed their babies. And of course, other aspects is flexible working hours. So the human resource departments should work towards ensuring that these women are well supported, coming in, being allowed to come in a bit late in the morning so that they're allowed to breastfeed the young one and also express any milk that they have, and then of course exit a bit earlier so that also they are able to do the same. So I would say that the systems in place should actually recognize that for this woman, she's juggling with so many things, and work-life balance also becomes a very big issue. And therefore, if the institutions do not support these women, then ultimately also productivity from these women will be affected. For me, I would say that we are saying that for this working woman, there is an intersection of so many things. The work-life balance, and again, looking at this one who has a young baby who requires their support. Of course, in public health, we know the benefits of breastfeeding, and we are talking about exclusive breastfeeding for at least 6 months, and then we continue breastfeeding this child at least up to 2 years, and if we are able, we continue. So if this mother is not well supported, then ultimately we should know that most likely this baby may be introduced to foods before 6 months, which is not healthy for the baby. And of course, for this mother who is working, if the issues around the workplace do not support her fully, then ultimately her productivity will be affected. There are mothers who have gotten burnout during this period because they are trying to balance all these aspects. They are having the issue of the breastfeeding. They are concerned about their baby. If the milk reduces, what will the baby take? Because of course we are talking about exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, which is what is recommended. And of course, if this is not put in place, of course, it means that productivity of this person will go down. So I would urge all institutions that this breastfeeding should be in spaces where matters to do with human resource are discussed. We should consider mothers, and of course know that even as they come into our workforce, during those times where there is breastfeeding, then they have to be given adequate support, because if we do not recognize this, then it means that we'll expect them to continue functioning normally, which actually will not happen. And of course, at the end of the day, the productivity goes down. If these women are well supported, then ultimately it means that they can be able to work from the confines of their homes, deliver what is required during certain times, come to the office, and this means that mentally, physically, and socially they will feel that they are well. And of course, it means that it will enhance productivity. So for me, I would say this is an issue where we require all people to come together. At the workplace, let us also have women represented in spaces where issues for staff are discussed so that they can be able to share their real stories. Like I would say, where I am, I would be able to share my story that without a lactation station, then working can become very difficult for a mother who is coming back from maternity leave. So with that in place, then you'll find that the women will voice and share their experiences, and of course from this we may have great transformations in the workplace. The policies in place also should consider flexible working hours, because these mothers need to be supported. We need to ensure that breastfeeding is not cut short because of too much stress, too much expectation on this woman, coupled with inadequate infrastructure put in place within the facilities to be able to support the women. Also, as women return back from maternity leave, it is good that they are supported so that they are given a window period where they can be able to just get into work at a pace which is in a paced way, in a way that initially they work for less hours as they get into the system and get used, and then of course with time the hours continue increasing. So I think with those then we'll find that we'll support these women adequately. And of course this is a conversation that needs to be in more spaces, because currently breastfeeding remains an issue mostly that goes around women, but we really require even the men in the institutions to support this, and also to recognize the relevance of breastfeeding, which of course ultimately affects the health of that child who in future will be our leader that we expect. Yeah.